Hey, how are you today? I'm doing great. I am taking, hi, say hi. Joshua's saying hello to us. We are on our way to speech. Joshua gets speech therapy 2 days a week. We are working on getting him into a program for him, specifically a program for children with autism. So those are our goals right now for him. But in the meantime, he gets speech therapy 2 times a week, and that's where we're going right now. I decided to record today's video in the car because it's been quite a journey to get him to the point where he's at right now in the car. You see him, he's quiet. He's like any other child in the car, but it wasn't always like that. When Joshua was born, and anytime he went in the car, it was torture, complete and total torture for all of us. He would cry hysterically the moment the car started moving, and we had to be in the car with him. So it was pretty loud. He was born in the summertime, and it stays significantly warm here, well into the end of September. So you have to have the air conditioning on. So all the windows are closed, and an infant is screaming on the top of his lungs in the back seat. It got to the point where the only time he would be put in the car is for doctor's appointments, and luckily his doctor's office was perhaps 10-15 minutes away from my house. I lived in Staten Island at the time, so that means it was really like a 25-30 minute ride with traffic, because there's always traffic there. But it was really rough. We couldn't figure out why he had such a hard time in the car. When we realized he was an acid reflux baby, because as I mentioned in my intro video, he cried all the time. I don't exaggerate. I think people used to think I was exaggerating, but then they would spend some time with him to let my husband and I go out for an evening, and they would say, wow, he literally cries the entire time you're with him. And I was like, that's pretty much how it goes. So it was pretty rough, but car rides were very difficult. He would cry the entire way to where we were going, and then he would cry the entire way home. Almost every single time we took him out of the car, he was completely soaking wet from head to toe because he was sweating and he was crying. And then even after we got him into the house, he would continue crying for like another 30 or 40 more minutes because he was just so upset he couldn't calm down. And of course that would require mommy or daddy holding him to try to comfort him, which was very difficult to do. We couldn't figure out why this kid always cried. We felt horrible. When we realized he had bad acid reflux problems, I was so worried that he was in pain. I have acid reflux, and I know that when my acid reflux is really bad, or I forget to take my medicine for a couple days, I get a horrible burning sensation up my back. It's very uncomfortable. I have to arch my back because it hurts. And I was worried that's what he was experiencing. The doctors, I nursed him at first, and then I had to put him on formula, and the pediatrician had me putting rice cereal in his milk by a month old. She said, I don't normally recommend this, but his acid reflux is really bad, and we're hoping that he can keep the milk down, because he wasn't keeping his milk down. I mean, it's not that he wasn't thriving, but he wasn't gaining weight at the rate he should be. So this went on, I want to say, from the moment he was born in August till May, June. We were trying to figure out what is up. Why is he crying so much? Everyone tells me, oh, cars put babies to sleep. Babies love cars. Not Joshua. Joshua hated the car. So I tried looking at this in a way, I was not thinking autism at all, but I was thinking, okay, maybe this is a sensory problem, because you don't have to have autism to have sensory issues. Anybody can have sensory issues. If you don't like walking around barefoot because you don't like the way the floor feels, that's a sensory issue. You're sensitive to that. If a certain sound or certain sounds or a certain volume of sound bothers you, it's a sensory issue. If you don't like the way a certain sweater feels on you, that's a sensory issue. Wow, this road is bumpy. I never realized it until I'm recording something. We all have sensory issues to a certain extent. It's just the degree of it. And I was looking at it in that way. So I'm in my head thinking, what if the car is just one horrible sensory overload for him? I mean, think about it. Because he was an infant, his car seat had to be backwards. So now he's riding backwards. There's the sounds of everything outside. I mean, you can hear now, different sounds, the rumbling of the car. Wow, this is really a bumpy road, isn't it? The rumbling of the car. If it's a windy day, you can hear the wind whipping around. You can hear cars honking. And then if you pass by a car that's letting off fumes, you can smell that fumes. I hate that smell. People like the smell of gasoline. It makes me nauseous. Then there's the feeling of the ride itself. He's riding backwards. If it's a bumpy road, if it's rumbling, and then there's the view you have outside the window. If you're going very fast, it could be overwhelming. The trees and everything whipping past the window. So I was looking at it like that, and I told Jay, I said, I think quite possibly this could be a sensory problem. And my husband, I was like, oh, Jessica, you're not thinking. I'm not thinking autism. I wasn't thinking that at all, actually. But I was thinking, hey, you know what? This could be a sensory problem. My husband has sensitivities to certain things. He doesn't like the way certain material feels, and he will never walk around barefoot because he can't stand the feeling of his feet touching the floor or anything touching his feet other than socks. I have my own sensory issues with sights and sounds. We all have it. That's a very normal thing. So if you think someone has a sensory problem, don't automatically assume they have autism. It's very normal. But anyways, where was I going with this? So I said to him, I think we need to find something to distract him. Something that's really gonna outweigh all the other things. So we had a portable DVD player, and thankfully it had where you could plug it into the car. So we mounted it to the seat where he was, put on a movie and prayed, and it worked. It worked. When we had our first car ride with the DVD player, and he wasn't crying. Now, mind you, the first, I would say 10 minutes, we held our breath like, okay, how long is this gonna last for? It lasted the entire car ride. I lived in Staten Island at the time, and I had family in Long Island, and I can never visit them because it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours when there's a lot of traffic. And we could not be in the car with him that long. My mother would love to have picked him up from the weekend for me and take her to her house, but she couldn't because he probably would have cried the entire time. But that DVD player was our miracle. He watched it, he enjoyed it, and it stopped him from crying. The only time we heard him cry was when the movie ended, and we quickly pressed replay. So that crying issue went on for a good 11 months before we figured out what to do. Another car issue we had that we did not anticipate was when it came time to turning his car seat around. Here we were excited to turn his car seat around, thinking, okay, he's going to face forward, he's going to see mommy driving, he's going to be able to see out the front windshield. It's going to be a great experience, because before he saw the back seat and whatever was passing by the window, so we were excited. We turned the car seat around and tried to put him in it. He was not having it at all. A common thing for people with autism on the spectrum is the need for routine. Not just routine, like, okay, we're gonna have breakfast, we're gonna go to school, we're gonna do homework, we're gonna watch TV, we're gonna go to bed. No, like strict routine. Don't try to change things up on them, because it really throws them off. I personally love routine. I don't like to change my routine. I don't like change, period. I'm not a big fan of it. I will adjust. I will not be happy. Internally, I will not be happy, but I will adjust. But people on the spectrum, it is very hard for them to change their routine. It will send them into a moment. Well, this change of the car seat sent our son into a moment. We tried putting him in the car seat, and he got stiff as a board. He would not let us push his body down in. It was Jay and I both trying to do it, and we couldn't. I mean, we're two grown adults. This is let me see, what was 2.5 years old? It was whenever he was legally allowed to turn the seat around in the state of New York. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't let us do it. When we finally kind of got his arm in the harness, he was freaking out. He was screaming. He was crying. It was a heartbreak. It was a heartbreak because we were so excited for him and he wasn't having it. We made about 2 or 3 attempts on this. So again, we had to troubleshoot. And at this point, we already knew Joshua had autism. He got diagnosed with autism. It was June of 2019. That's when he was diagnosed. Again, at that point of the game, we were not surprised. We were pretty positive we knew what this was. So we had to troubleshoot. How can we get this kid to sit in the car seat with this change? How are we going to help him deal with this? And we had to do 2 major changes in order for it to work. Number 1, a completely different car seat. We could not use the car seat that we were trying to turn around. The car seat you see back there is the car seat we use. And we didn't just put it in the car and place him in it and say, hey, here we go. You waving, baby? Hi. Hi. So cute. We took that car seat, placed it in our living room, and let him watch TV sitting in it. So it would be a positive experience for him. So he would sit in that car seat, enjoy whatever show he's watching, gave him a snack, gave him a drink. We wanted him to have a positive mindset about this car seat. This is a good thing you're sitting in. So when we did put the car seat in the car, he would say, hey, this is my throne. This is the throne I love at home. And we were hoping it would work. We did bring it to the car and he was a little hesitant, so then we made one more adjustment. We actually moved the car seat to the other side. His car seat used to be on that side of the car. It's now directly behind me. So we had to change the car seat and we had to change the side. With those 2 adjustments, that's it. It was like he never had a problem. Amazing, isn't it? His little mind was programmed that the infant car seat that he was in faces backwards and it's on that side of the car. And he was not willing to change that at all. What a difference. A little brainstorming, figuring it out, teamwork by me and my husband. We solved the problem. Now car rides are pleasant, thankfully.